So, here's a story that should be a national scandal, but of course it's not because this stuff happens every single day in Washington. This is from Sludge. They say they cover corruption. Healthcare lobbyists fighting against expanded Medicare and lower drug prices have given at least $1.5 million to the DCCC and DSCC this year. So let me explain this. They donated $1.5 million to the campaign arm of the Democrats. Why did they do that? Well, they did that because when you give to the campaign arm as opposed to giving specifically to the campaigns and the individual politicians, you have a higher cap on the amount of money you can give. So I think the limit's like $36,500 or something like that. And what you see is all these healthcare lobbyists maxing out and just throwing money at the Democrats. The reason why they're doing that, and again, the total is $1.5 million, is, as described, we want to kill the lower drug prices reform, and we want to stop the expansion of Medicare to include dental, hearing, and vision. Now, in a world that made sense, this would be a giant national scandal. It is just literally direct legalized bribery. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the media is complicit in this stuff. They think it's just another day in Washington. They think this is just how it works, and so nobody's even talking about it. So listen, when we get, because we're going to get news on Build Back Better, if anything even happens at all with Build Back Better, we will get news that they weakened even further various provisions. So, and Bernie is saying, hey, it's a red line. If you don't expand Medicare to include dental, vision, and hearing, you might lose his vote. So if they just keep it, we're only expanding hearing, and if they just keep it, we're only negotiating for like 10 or 50 drug prices to lower the prices. That is literally a direct result of the corruption and the legalized bribery. And I don't know why anybody would be okay with this. You know, you wonder why Congress's approval rating is 12%. You wonder why the Democrats are getting obliterated. Now, by the way, that's not to say that the Republicans wouldn't be doing the same shit. The Republicans are against even the totally watered down shitty reforms that are like some drug prices will get lowered and some expansion of Medicare. They're even against that. So this isn't to give the Republicans a pass. They're even worse. But you wonder why people check out of politics, become apolitical, scoff at the whole system. It's because you're not fooling us. You're not fooling us. Now, maybe people don't know all the details and the specifics, but watch like 3 secular talk videos and you're like, oh, this is how it works? I got it. So nothing's going to change unless you change this. And the way to change this is a constitutional amendment to have clean elections, which are publicly financed elections, and stop the big money corrupting of our politics. And if you can't do it through a constitutional amendment, the only other way to do it, because it's interpreted as it's freedom of speech to buy politicians by the Supreme Court, the only other way to do it is to mandate or pass a law that says direct democracy at the federal level, where every time we vote for president, we vote on some of the top issues. That's the only way we're going to get positive change. Because if not, we're just going to keep running into walls like this. There's other ways too. I mean, I guess you could have a civil rights style movement specifically on, the issues that are most important to Americans. Literally, lower drug prices is the number one issue for Americans. So if you had some sort of massive million people marching on Washington demanding it and not leaving until we get it, it is possible in that scenario to force them to do lower drug prices, even with the corruption, because they fear either for their safety or that they're definitely going to lose their seat or that there's going to be pitchforks coming out. That's possible. But it shouldn't have to take this colossal, movement and mass mobilization to get basic shit like this. And that's why people are fed up. This is the Democratic Party doing this. And again, nobody's going to report on it. By the way, go read the whole article in Sludge. I'll leave the link in the video description box because the details are out of this world. They literally name, who the executive is giving the money and who this lobbyist is giving the money, and they give the dollar amount per one. And this is the way the sausage is made, man. And it's absolutely grotesque. And this is nowhere near a party of the people. They're literally just betraying their constituents to raise more money for the party and for their next election cycle. And it doesn't matter how fully funded the coffers are and how sharp your message is. If everybody knows you stab them in the back the instant that you have the power and the authority and the ability to legislate. So it's like, it's a fucking cycle from hell. It's an absolute cycle from hell, and that's obvious. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.